I expect a change in both method and language, and also in content. In content, because of a certain move from by the American administration, coming back to the multilateral agendas, to the United Nations framework, rejoining the Paris Agreement, and considering the possibilities of facing together with Europe some of the global challenges. We cannot ignore the issues we have with the Americans in trade, in investment agreements, and in taxation. But now we have an interlocutor that can approach these difficulties, very important difficulties, in a friendly way. Well, it is very important to use the concept of strategic autonomy, but we cannot have any kind of ambiguity on that. Strategic autonomy does not mean put in question solid traditional alliance, like, for instance, the Atlantic Alliance. Strategic autonomy is not a kind of independence and neutral stance of Europe concerning, for example, the contradictions and the conflicts between the United States and Russia, or between the United States and China. We are not neutral. We belong, like the United States, we belong to the West, to the Western world. We don't think anymore that the West is the core of the world. The world is multipolar, but still we have a close relationship and a close, I would say, kinship with both the United States and the United Kingdom. That's our place. So we are not neutral. But let's be concrete. Speaking of strategic autonomy in regards to economy, means reindustrializing Europe and the need that Europe becomes less dependent on other countries with very different normative and institutional context, and I'm referring to China. And this is our aim. We don't hide it. We proposed a meeting, high-level meeting with India, following the high-level meeting with China that the Germans were proposing during their presidency. Because if you talk with China, and you have to talk with China, that's the second economy of the world, that's the world's most populated country, 1.4 billion people. You have to talk with them. You have also to talk with India. It is the largest democracy in the world, and it would be observed that the two largest democracies of the world, India and the European Union, do not have regular political dialogue. So we are not only interested in trade and investment. We think that our relationship with India has to be, we have to pay more attention to it, and it has to be multidimensional. There is a political dimension, two democracies speaking to each other. There is an economic dimension. We have to deblock the current impasse concerning economic agreements on investment and on trade. And there is room for improving bilateral cooperation in fields like technology, like the climate action. We have to mobilize India to the climate agenda. One of the areas in which the United States and the European Union have to work together better is the Indo-Pacific region. Last November, 15 countries signed a common economic and trade agreement, representing 1/3 of the world population and about 1/3 of the world's GDP. These countries were China, were the Asian countries, the 10 countries of the Southeast Asia, with which we have signed with Europeans and signed a strategic partnership, were Australia and New Zealand, that are close allies to Europe, and were Japan and the Republic of Korea, who are also very important partners of Europe. The question is, can the United States, can the European Union, can India ignore this fact? I don't think we can.